Hey everyone, this is Myf, your life and performance coach, and welcome to the Actually You Can podcast. Actually You Can is more than just a fun phrase to say. It's a philosophy of limitless potential, a mindset, an attitude, a conviction. Most importantly, it's about to make you achieve what you might never have thought possible. On this show, we discuss strategies for growth for ambitious individuals looking to achieve big things and live a thriving, fulfilled life. You'll hear from inspiring guests who will share their journeys, challenges, and lessons learned. And I'll be sharing insights and actionable takeaways from my aligned results framework that will help you to align your goals, mindset, and strategies to reach your highest potential. Be sure to hit subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to so you can easily find this podcast again and stay updated with new episodes dropping every week. Today, I'm excited to talk about one of my favorite topics in today's solo episode: productivity tips for entrepreneurs. I'm passionate about working with entrepreneurs and helping people bring their unique talents into the world. That's why I'm super excited to share some tips and tricks to boost your productivity so you can become more efficient and accomplish more in less time. My approach to productivity isn't about hustle culture or working 12 to 15-hour days. Instead, I focus on maximizing the effectiveness of the work you do in the least amount of time, allowing you to enjoy all that life has to offer outside of work. Yes, I believe you need to work hard, but not permanently at the expense of other areas of your life. Whether you wish to use that extra time to work more hours in your business, or you wish to spend it with family and friends or going on adventures, productivity is key to achieving your business goals and living a dream life. By the end of this episode, my goal is that you walk away with actionable strategies that you can implement today to enhance your productivity and start living the life you've always imagined, while kicking your business goals at the same time. So let's dive in. I want to kick off today's episode with a story about Sarah, a young entrepreneur who embarked on her journey to launch a sustainable fashion brand. Fueled by passion and determination, Sarah poured her heart and soul into her venture, envisaging a world where ethical fashion could flourish. However, amidst the excitement and enthusiasm, Sarah encountered a formidable foe: the relentless struggle for productivity. Despite her best efforts, Sarah found herself grappling with an overwhelming workload and never-ending to-do list. Juggling multiple tasks simultaneously, from sourcing eco-friendly materials to designing marketing campaigns, Sarah often felt like she was spinning plates in a circus act. Each day seemed to blur into the next, and as she battled against the relentless tide of emails, meetings, and deadlines. As Sarah's business grew, so did the demands on her time and energy. With limited resources and a small team, she struggled to maintain momentum and stay focused on her long-term goals. Distractions lurked around every corner, from the lure of social media to the incessant ping of incoming notifications. Despite her best intentions, Sarah found herself falling victim to the insidious trap of procrastination. She would convince herself that she needed just one more cup of coffee or a quick scroll through her inbox before tackling the daunting task at hand. But all too often, those fleeting moments of procrastination would snowball into hours wasted, leaving Sarah feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. As the pressure mounted and deadlines loomed even closer, Sarah realized that her productivity was suffering, and with it, her dreams of building a successful business. She knew that something had to change if she were to overcome the productivity challenges standing in her way and achieve her business goals. Determined to reclaim control of her time and energy, Sarah embarked on a journey of self-discovery and growth. She sought out mentors and peers who could offer guidance and support, learning valuable strategies for prioritization and time management. She implemented tools and techniques to minimize distractions and maximize focus, from time blocking her schedule to setting strict boundaries around her work hours. Slowly but surely, Sarah began to see the fruits of her labor. With newfound clarity and purpose, she channeled her energy into the tasks that mattered the most, making meaningful progress towards her goals. She embraced the power of delegation, learning to trust her team and empower them to take ownership of their responsibilities. As Sarah's productivity soared, so did her business. With each milestone achieved and each obstacle overcome, she grew stronger and more resilient. And though the road ahead would undoubtedly be challenging, Sarah knew that she was ready to face whatever obstacles lay in her path, armed with the knowledge that with perseverance and determination, anything was possible. That's how Sarah transformed from procrastinator into a productivity queen. And I'm going to share with you how you can start to take your own journey from procrastination to becoming the productivity king or queen as well. So to kick things off, we're going to look at exactly what is productivity. I'm going to share with you strategies for enhancing your productivity and how you can use these to create your own productivity systems. But before we dive into all of that, I don't need to tell you that being an entrepreneur is hard. There are a number of challenges you encounter each day that require you to have the skill of self-discipline to overcome. And moving from procrastination to productivity is one of them. Being productive is going to require self-discipline, and I recently taught a workshop on self-discipline and shared the following quote: "Self-discipline without purpose is pointless suffering." Now, there are times where you might engage in pointless suffering, like the gym workout I did the other day, but I strongly believe your life should not be built on a foundation of pointless suffering. So to kick things off, I need you to spend a couple of minutes reflecting on why it is you do what you do in your business. You're going to write down the answer to these 3 questions. In my business, I want to ... To do this, I will ... and I won't ... So an example of this could be, I want to impact thousands of people through my love of cooking. To do it, I might bake homemade goods and sell them at the local market on the weekends. And I won't sacrifice my time with my family and all of the other things I enjoy to do this. I can spend 60 minutes alone going through these questions with clients. So while you're taking a couple of moments to write these answers down and get the juices flowing, I encourage you to revisit these questions again post listening to this podcast and making sure you have this as reference whenever you start working in your business. So once you've reconnected to why it is that you do what you do in your business, we're going to look at how we can build the productivity systems you need in order to achieve those goals. So productivity in its essence refers to the efficiency with which resources such as time, effort, and capital are utilized to achieve desired outcomes or goals. For entrepreneurs like us, productivity is not just a buzzword. It's a critical factor that can make or break the success of our businesses. Here's why it's important for us. Firstly, as entrepreneurs, we often have limited resources at our disposal. We must wear multiple hats and juggle various responsibilities from product development and marketing to customer support and financial management. By focusing on productivity, we can ensure that we allocate our time, effort, and capital efficiently, prioritizing tasks that generate the most significant impact for our business and our customers. Secondly, in today's fast-paced and highly competitive business landscape, the ability to adapt and innovate quickly is crucial. Being productive enables us to stay agile, make timely decisions, and implement changes efficiently. This responsiveness can give us a competitive edge, allowing us to seize opportunities and respond to challenges effectively. And lastly, productivity has a direct impact on our bottom line. The more efficient we are in our operations, the better our profit margins, cash flow, and overall financial health. Enhanced productivity can also lead to higher quality products or services, improved customer satisfaction, and increased customer retention. At the very least, it's important to know that time is money, and all of those can be improved and addressed through productivity. Productivity is not just about working harder. It's about working smarter. For entrepreneurs, productivity is the key to unlocking their full potential. Tell me if this resonates with you. When it comes to thinking about what we need to do, what we want to do, and what other people should be doing, we are the experts. Our creative juices begin to flow, we come up with a complete mental blueprint, and we envisage a clear picture of the business of our dreams. But when it comes to getting off our bums and actually doing the work to turn this vision into a reality, we suddenly become disabled and we lack the self-discipline, focus, action, and persistence required to get the job done. Does that sound familiar at all? Entrepreneurs face a whole range of obstacles that threaten their productivity that are unique to their role and responsibilities. However, in saying this, there are two main reasons why we find it so difficult to follow through with what we started. These reasons are inhibiting tactics and psychological barriers. Inhibiting tactics describe the excuses we make for misusing the time we've been given. Whether consciously or unconsciously, we engage in self-sabotaging behaviors that prevent us from moving forward. These tactics include setting the wrong goals, poor time management, engaging in distractions or temptations. As I go through these examples, note down which ones resonate with you. So firstly, setting the wrong goals. Goals are necessary if you're going to achieve your business dreams. However, when you set goals that are too abstract, you're setting yourself up for failure. You can compare setting the wrong goals to putting the wrong postcode in your GPS. You will never arrive at your destination. In the same way, you will never arrive at your destination with the wrong goal. When you're running around in circles, you will lose patience, you'll lose hope and motivation, and eventually give up. Abstract goals are just as bad. This is a situation when you don't know exactly what needs to be done to achieve your goals. Let's say, for example, you want to improve your health, and I get this one a lot, but you haven't defined what it means to be healthy. Because of this, you are less likely to work towards accomplishing anything. You might have the desire to be healthy, but because you don't know what to do, you'll never take steps to achieving it. Another enemy for goal setting is setting goals that are too unrealistic or too high for any mortal to reach. In this situation, we find ourselves staring up at a giant ladder without any rungs. I'm not saying you shouldn't be ambitious. However, an unrealistic goal is setting a goal like I'm going to lose 10 kilos in a week. When you set unrealistic goals, you almost know you're never going to achieve them. So you'll think, why even bother in the first place? The second tactic, poor time management. We all have 24 hours in the day, and what we choose to do with them will determine whether we get the things on our to-do list done or not. Unfortunately, many of us waste our time on pointless random activities and then claim that there are not enough hours in the day to get anything done. Time management involves using time in a way that maximizes efficiency and productivity. Good time management means that you're capable of scheduling tasks, exercising good judgment, and developing insight to recognize when to do the tasks. Additionally, it involves having the self-discipline to carry out those tasks you had planned and focus to ensure that you have the resources organized accordingly. With good time management, a schedule is strategically organized and swiftly followed through on so that tasks are completed as planned. Poor time management, on the other hand, involves a lack of self-discipline, planning, focus, or organization. Poor time management leads to a domino effect that hinders the rest of our plans. There is no doubt that life today is challenging, and it is even more difficult than ever to maintain a healthy work-life balance. Not only has technology provided more opportunities, but it's also a major source of distraction, and 24 hours never seems like enough time to do the things we need to do. So bad time management has become the norm, and good time management is a superpower that only an enlightened few have mastered. If we find it difficult to manage day-to-day tasks, how can we expect to manage our time to achieve our business goals? The third tactic, engaging in distractions or temptations. The road to goal attainment would be easy enough traveled if there were no delays, if the road was straight, and we could go with no hindrance. If we had nothing to do other than work towards our goal, that's probably what we would do, and we'd be successful. Unfortunately, that is not the case. The road is lined with inviting rest stops, glittery detour signs, and a host of other shiny objects. Distractions and temptations come aplenty these days. From our phones to Netflix to computer games, there is always something more appealing and comforting for us to do than hard work. However, it's impossible to rid the world of distractions and temptations. The problem isn't the temptations and distractions, but we lack the ability to handle them. We can manage them through moderate, healthy use patterns and strategic avoidance, and we'll discuss some ways you can do this shortly. The second reason we find it so hard to follow through with what we say we're going to do is because of psychological roadblocks. Psychological roadblocks are the unconscious internal mechanisms that act as barricades to our success. They are the invisible force that is holding us back from taking action we know we need to take. These forces are commonly perfectionism due to insecurity, fear of failure, rejection or judgment, and laziness or a lack of discipline. So to illustrate what I mean by perfectionism due to insecurity, I'm going to share another story. Let me know if this resonates with you. Marcus has been thinking about applying for promotion for years. He has been working to upgrade his skills and professional knowledge, enrolling in postgraduate classes, taking certification exams, and attending seminars. He aims to create a perfect resume so he can be confident he'll get the promotion when he applies. For Marcus, if it wasn't perfect, he wouldn't take action until it was. Despite all his efforts, 2 years went by and he still hadn't applied for the promotion because he didn't think he had gained enough credentials. His perfectionism was rooted in his deep insecurity and fear that he wasn't good enough, which prevented Marcus from taking action. All his energy was focused on striving for perfection and over-planning, which ultimately led to stagnation. From the outside looking in, it would appear that Marcus was a go-getter working towards his goals, but in reality, all his efforts were really going to avoiding the problem. Next, we have the fear of failure and rejection. And so here's another story. Potentially this one resonates with you too. So Marie is a volunteer for a local organisation that provides education for underprivileged children. She has come up with a fundraising campaign idea that will attract more sponsors. Maria has thought about the research she needs to do and the people she needs to call to get things moving. But before she dials the first number, she stops and thinks about all the things that could go wrong if she organises their campaign. What if she gets the support from community leaders, but no one shows up? What if she ends up spending more money than we make? What if no one is interested in the campaign? After spending some time answering her own questions, she decides to abandon the idea and immediately feels better for doing so. Marie didn't follow through because she was afraid of failure, rejection, and judgment. In her mind, deciding not to take action was a form of self-preservation. It was her way of protecting herself from the pain of failure. She couldn't get rejected because she didn't ask for anything, and no one could say she failed because she didn't attempt to go after her goal. The fear of failure, rejection, and judgment paralyzes us and stops us from working towards our goals. We think that by not taking action, we eliminate the possibility of doing something that might lead to negative judgment. If we don't attempt to do the things that challenge us, it's impossible to fail. However, you fail the moment you don't try. The third psychological barrier is laziness and a lack of discipline. Sometimes laziness and a lack of discipline will prevent us from following through. When you hit the snooze button despite having 8 hours of sleep, lie on the couch flicking through channels, or spending hours talking on the phone even though you know you have work to do, you only have yourself to blame when you're unable to complete the important tasks in a timely manner. A lack of discipline causes you to waste time on distractions and temptations, and you don't have enough willpower to either get started or to continue what you have started. When you think about the sacrifices required to get things done, whether consciously or unconsciously, you decide it's not worth it. So take some time out to think about the story of your own life. Are you doing the things in your business that will allow you to have the business and live the life that you really want? Or do you find yourself falling victim to the inhibiting tactics and psychological roadblocks that prevent you from doing so? If yes, then I've got you, and I'll help equip you with the tools to help you create the business and the life you truly deserve. So now we know why we don't do the things we know we need to do. Let's look at what we can do about it. So if reflecting back on what we've just spoken about, if setting the wrong goals is your challenge, then what you're going to do is get really specific about your goal. Yes, you've heard me talk about the SMART goal formula, and I'll link to the previous podcast episodes where I do talk about this so you can learn more about what that means. But essentially, you're going to get really specific on the goal that you want to hit. And to do this, I want you to provide the answer to the following question: how would MYF know that I've achieved my goal? I want you to be so specific about what success looked like for you that I would know that you are successful. The second thing you can do is, if you're not sure about the right goal to set, then you're going to ask a mentor or someone who has walked a path that you're on to get an understanding of what a good or realistic goal is. If poor time management is your struggle, then you can use some of my favorite time management techniques. So the first one is the Pomodoro technique. And essentially, this is where you have 25 minutes of focused work followed by a 5-minute break, and you repeat that for as long as you need to get the job done. And the reason I like this tool is because sometimes when tasks feel so overwhelming, if I can convince myself to sit down and simply work on the task for 25 minutes, I often find I'll get a lot done, and then that task won't seem so overwhelming by the end of that 25-minute chunk. So the way I implement this technique is there is a really awesome playlist on Spotify. I'll link it below. I play music for 25 minutes. I have my 5-minute break where I make sure I get up, go get a drink, move around, get some energy back into my body, do that for 5 minutes, and then I sit back down for another 25-minute bout of work. And over time, what has happened is essentially my brain has cottoned on to the fact that if I play this particular playlist, I'm in the zone and I am in work mode. And so this is one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite tools and one that I use successfully in my day-to-day, not only in my business, but in my work as well. And so another tool you can use is the tasked time calendar. And essentially what this involves is making sure you have a clear list of tasks that you need to achieve in a given week. You simply write down what these tasks are. You allocate how much time it takes you to do the task. And yes, this can be challenging if you haven't done this task before. So I'll offer you a couple of different ways that you can do this. So firstly, if you know how long the task is going to take, then allocate that amount of time and that amount of time only. There is a law called Parkinson's law, which essentially states that whatever time you have available, you will use. So a lot of us fall into a trap of using way more time than necessary to complete a task because that time is available to us. So making sure that you only allocate the time you need to complete a task will make sure you are productive with this time. If you don't know how long a task is going to take you, then use your best guess estimate and then make sure that you put spare time in your calendar later towards the week as buffer time, just in case for whatever reason you weren't able to get the task done then. You then have set time in your calendar that you know that you can revisit this task. And you'll notice that I mentioned the word calendar. I can't live without my calendar. I have a central calendar that combines my business calendar, my full-time work calendar, and the personal calendar that I have with my husband. I combine all of these 3 calendars into one, and it is my Bible, and it is how I operate and live my life. And so what you're going to do when you have the task that you need, how long you need to complete the task, is you're going to put those tasks in your calendar. I personally use an online calendar. And why I love to use this is, for example, if life happens, then I can easily pick up a task and shift it to another day if required. Obviously, that is not ideal. It's not what we're looking for. But again, life happens. Sometimes you might not get a task done. And having an online calendar means that I can easily sync all of my different calendars, but also means that I can easily adjust things as needed as other events pop up during the week. That's tool number 2, task time calendar, also known as time blocking. The last tip that I'm going to share to help improve your time management is a technique called eating the frog. I don't really like eating frogs. I'm not sure I really agree with this whole saying. Eating the frog essentially refers to doing the most important or hardest task first. And to be honest, sometimes this works for me and sometimes it doesn't. I actually look to either do the hardest or most important task first, or if I'm lacking motivation and really just need to find some sort of motivation, or if I need to just get started with my day, I'll do the easiest thing first. So when I start my day, I check in with myself and also ask, how am I going to be most productive today? Sometimes I need a little win to get the motivation and the energy started. Other times I can jump straight into tackling the hardest and most important tasks first. So eat the frog or do the opposite. Do the hardest thing first or do the smallest and easiest and see what that does to your productivity. If engaging in distractions or temptations was your challenge, then you can try structuring your time between having creative time and logical time. I know personally, if I'm working in my business and I need to write social media content, but I'm also processing invoices or scheduling my calendar, then my brain really struggles to bounce between being creative and being logical. So, what I found most effective for me is having set mornings or chunks of time where I'm creative and set chunks of time where I'm in my logical brain. And so I'm not bouncing between both of these brains multiple times throughout the day. Where possible, I try to have creative days and logical days. And I encourage you to try this one on too. This helps me to better engage and spend less time trying to bounce between the different brains. The second thing you can do is look at when your most energetic self and scheduling your calendar around that. For example, if your energy typically peaks in the morning, schedule a lot of your tasks for around that time. If you know you have a lull in energy in the afternoon, you probably don't want to be spending this time doing your creative tasks. You might want to instead do the business admin or stuff that you know is a really easy task, but potentially a little bit mind numbing and time consuming. So, looking at where you feel your most energetic self, where you find you have your lulls in energy, and really using those to your advantage when you're scheduling your calendar can be really supportive with managing energy and distractions or temptations as well. And then lastly, probably the biggest one is putting your phone away. I'm not sure about you, but every time I see a light pop up on my phone, or if I even see my phone in reach, I know that I can get a really easy dopamine hit by whatever is being offered to me on my phone. So the way I manage being distracted or any temptation to be distracted when I'm facing some challenging tasks is to simply have my phone out of the room. And so those are some ways that you can manage your inhibiting tactics. If we're looking now to the psychological roadblocks, all of these stem from limiting beliefs. I love this quote by Tony Robbins, which states, "The strongest force in the universe is a human being living consistently with his identity." Whether you think you can or you're not, you're right. On this same note, another concept to become familiar with is that your thoughts drive your emotions and your emotions drive your actions. If you can change the thoughts of your identity, then you will act differently. And the first step to overcoming any limiting belief is to be aware of the thoughts that you're having. What beliefs or rules are coming up when you're saying you need to do more study or you're not ready to do the thing just yet? What thoughts come up just before you decide not to do something or you decide to do something that is of a lesser priority? Bring awareness to these thoughts and ask yourself, what is something more resourceful that I could believe instead? Perhaps when you're thinking, my business isn't at the stage yet where I am ready to apply for this grant, you could believe, even though I don't think that my business is quite ready just yet, I'm still going to put my hat in the ring and share the work that I've done to prepare the business to this point and what I'm doing to get it to the level that I believe that it needs to be at to be successful for this grant. Because I welcome the feedback the team could share on this journey. On the other hand, when you go to choose a lesser important task, you could ask yourself, is this task really helping me move towards my goals, or am I avoiding something else? What you're going to do is write down those limiting beliefs and write a more empowering one instead. Create a list of these empowering beliefs in a notebook or in your phone and refer to them every day until they become part of your identity. So, pulling all this together, you've now got a list of tools that you can implement to boost your productivity. And for the next 21 days, you are going to pick 1 to 3 tools that you're going to implement every day for the next 21 days. This will be enough time for you to see the benefits of these tools and to learn which ones would work best for you. And I would love to hear about your experience. So send me a message on Instagram at MYF'Galloway. And if you found today's episode helpful, then I encourage you to take a screenshot of this episode and share it with a fellow entrepreneur so they can benefit from these tips as well. Thank you for joining me today. It's such a privilege and a pleasure to be able to be of service in this way. I hope these steps help you to beat procrastination and create more productive and fulfilling days ahead in your business. Until next time, remember that actually you can.